The air you breathe right now is the only real thing you possess. Yet for years you have treated it as a background noise, while you dedicated the entirety of your life's energy to the ghosts and architects that reside within the corridors of your skull, building elaborate monuments to failures that have already passed and preparing for wars that will never be declared. Most of us are living in a state of perpetual absence, where our bodies are present in the room, sitting at the table, or walking down the street, but our consciousness is locked away in a feverish internal dialogue, arguing with people who aren't there and seeking validation from memories that have long since turned to dust. The tragedy of the modern man is that he has mistaken the noise of his thoughts for the depth of his intelligence, believing that if he can just analyze his pain one more time or imagine every possible catastrophe, he will somehow find the safety he craves, when in reality, he is only tightening the chains of his own mental prison. The moment you stop living in your head is the moment the world finally becomes three-dimensional again, as the static of your anxieties begins to fade and the raw, unedited power of the present moment rushes in to fill the void that was once occupied by your self-created suffering. This transition from the cerebral to the physical is not merely a psychological shift, but a biological reclamation that is profoundly amplified when you stop leaking your vital life force through the hollow pursuit of temporary digital gratifications. Semen retention is the cornerstone of this awakening because it provides the physiological substrate for presence. It is the act of refusing to scatter your internal fire for a moment of numbness, choosing instead to let that energy saturate your nervous system until your mind becomes too sharp to be clouded by the trivialities of overthinking. A man who is perpetually depleted is a man who is perpetually anxious, because his body knows it lacks the resources to meet the demands of reality, forcing his mind to retreat into a defensive shell of obsessive thought and imaginary control. When you retain your essence, you are effectively fueling the lamp of your awareness, allowing you to see the traps of your ego from a distance, rather than being caught in the gears of every passing impulse and every whisper of self-doubt that echoes through your mind. As this internal reservoir of energy builds, you will notice that the frantic need to figure everything out begins to dissolve, replaced by a quiet, masculine authority that understands that true power does not come from having all the answers, but from the ability to stand unshaken in the face of the unknown. You have spent a lifetime using your thoughts as a shield to avoid the raw intensity of your emotions, but on this path, you learn that you cannot think your way out of feeling. You can only feel your way into freedom by bringing your attention down from the clouds of your mind and into the center of your chest. This synergy between mental stillness and physical retention creates a magnetic field of presence that others can sense before you even speak, as you are no longer projecting the desperate, fragmented energy of someone who is trying to escape themselves. You become a man who is grounded in the earth, a man who looks at life through eyes that are clear of the fog of fantasy, and a man who understands that the only way to change his future is to stop abandoning his present. The discipline of retention acts as a constant reminder that you are the master of your temple, proving to your subconscious mind every single day that your will is stronger than your biology and that your purpose is more important than your pleasure. This foundational victory over the self begins to bleed into every other area of your existence, making it impossible for you to remain a victim of your own internal narrative because you have tasted the reality of your own strength. When the mind tries to pull you back into the old loops of comparison and regret, the retained energy within you acts as an anchor, pulling you back to the weight of your own limbs and the rhythm of your own heart, until the mental noise becomes nothing more than a distant hum that has no power to move you. You are essentially training your brain to stop seeking hits of dopamine in the imaginary world of your head and to start seeking fulfillment in the tangible world of action, growth, and genuine human connection. This process is not about reaching a state of permanent perfection, but about developing the relentless skill of returning to the center every time the wind of thought tries to blow you off course, understanding that every moment of awareness is a victory in the war against your own stagnation. You will find that as your retention deepens, your speech becomes more deliberate, your movements more precise, and your ability to focus on a single task becomes a superpower in an age where everyone else is being pulled apart by the distractions of their own device-driven minds. The world begins to respond to you differently because you are no longer a ghost wandering through your own life. Focused entity that occupies space with intent and moves through time with a sense of destiny that is backed by the biological power of your own restraint. Everything changes because you have finally stopped negotiating with your weaknesses and have started investing in your own divinity, realizing that the kingdom you are looking for was never in your thoughts, but in the silence that exists when the thoughts finally stop. By holding your energy within, you are essentially telling the universe that you are ready for more responsibility, for more depth, and for more truth, as you have proven that you can handle the fire of your own existence without needing to extinguish it for the sake of comfort. The moment of true transformation is not a loud event, but a quiet realization that occurs in the silence of your own room when you realize you haven't been trapped in your head for an hour, but have been fully engaged with the texture of the air and the clarity of your own purpose. This is the birth of the new man, a man who uses his mind as a tool for creation rather than a weapon of self-destruction, and who carries his life force as a sacred trust that fuels his journey toward the highest version of himself. You are no longer living in a rehearsal for a life that never arrives. You are finally here, in the raw, beautiful, and demanding reality of the now, where every breath is a gift and every second is an opportunity to prove that you are finally truly awake.